Good morning. The time is 4:30, and coming up on WKYT this morning, some new road technology. Will it save some money in one of our bluegrass counties? We'll have the latest details coming up on WKYT.
Also, many marinas across part of Kentucky were damaged from all that snow. Some docks on Lake Cumberland are reporting millions of dollars worth of damage they're now trying to clean up.
And the Old Friends Farm in Scott County now has the money to build a fireproof barn or two, thanks to a $50,000 donation.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. It's Friday, and we're glad you're with us on WKYT as we start off this day that leads right to the weekend. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith. Let's get a check of the weather and what's happening. A little bit warmer out there.
Yeah, and we've had some snowflakes as we fly over toward the east and southeastern zones. It is warmer. It's better than the past couple of mornings, but it's still around that freezing mark. So that's helping these snowflakes stay with kind of this weather pattern and just slide down toward the southeast. The look right now is pretty quiet, but we have another band entering northern Kentucky. This will affect the northeast and the eastern zones here throughout the next few hours before fading. They're around 8 a.m. 36 degrees now in Danville, 36 Richmond. Then we track off into the afternoon. We're talking temperatures holding on to the 30s. So we'll talk about this. We'll get into your weekend much warmer. It's coming up in a few minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Well, road crews in Madison County have some new technology this winter, and it came in handy during last week's snowstorm.
County leaders, even people in the community, can now track the county's salt trucks, know where they are as they battle the snow-covered roads. Our Monique Blair explains how that all works.
This is what the streets in Madison County looked like last Friday, but now that all 23 of the Madison County plow trucks are equipped with a GPS device, along with a new website the county rolled out the day of the storm. Next time folks in the county see this, with just the click of a button, they'll be able to see whether or not their streets have been plowed.
It's a communication factor. I mean, it's really educating the community. They just want to know.
So this is how the website works. You put any street in the county here at the top. You'll see it will zoom to that street. Now, it's a little hard to tell here because there aren't any trucks out right now, but if there were, you would see little green arrows here on Crutcher Pike. It would even go as far as showing you the direction in which the truck is moving. The website also shows you exactly which roads are maintained by the county and which roads are not. The Madison County Tracks program is not only a way to be more transparent for those at home, but also a way to keep the truck drivers safe.
Well, we can track the trucks now in real time. We can see where they're at on the route, see how long it's going to take them to finish the route, or see how long it's going to take to get to a particular part of that route. We can also, can tell if the truck's having trouble, if he's driving too fast or too slow. The GPS devices cost the county about $16,000.
The data that we collect to make our routes more efficient, you know, with all this data, we potentially could shave time off of our routes.
In Madison County, Monique Blair, WKYT.
Now, the folks over at Lexington Streets and Roads Department told us that they are also interested in this program. We have a link to Madison County's Tracks website at WKYT.com. And cleanup is continuing at marinas at Lake Cumberland that were damaged by last week's winter storm. The marinas are reporting millions of dollars in damages, and some marina owners say repairs could take months. Insurance adjusters say the owners of damaged boats should file claims as soon as possible.
There are, a limited number of boat repair facilities, so when you've got massive claims like this, it is going to slow down the process because there's just not enough availability of, repair facilities to take care of it.
Adjusters say in this case, responsibility for boat repairs won't be with the marina. They say because the damage is not the marina's fault, it is up to the boat owner to arrange repairs.
One of Tennessee's top 10 most wanted fugitives has been found in southern Kentucky. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office says deputies arrested 51-year-old Rick Brock last night. They say a tip led them to Brock's brother's home in London. Deputies say they found Brock hiding in a home behind a refrigerator. Once at the sheriff's office, deputies say Brock then assaulted one of them and tried to escape. Police say Brock was wanted in Claiborne County, Tennessee on child rape charges. A Scott County jury's convicted a woman of killing her boyfriend. The jury found Melinda Turner guilty of murder last night. The jury deliberated for about 6 hours before returning a verdict. The jury will now decide Turner's sentence. Police say Turner stabbed 26-year-old Maxwell Pomeroy Jr. in their Georgetown home back in 2010.
Governor Matt Bevin is claiming that a Planned Parenthood clinic in Louisville is performing abortions illegally. In a statement, the governor said, quote, "They are openly and knowingly operating an unlicensed abortion facility in clear violation of the law. We will use the full force of the Commonwealth to put a stop to this." Planned Parenthood leaders say the health clinic opened in Louisville last month. They say they applied for an abortion facility license and began services under the guidance of the State Office of the Inspector General.
Well, last weekend, a fire destroyed a barn at a thoroughbred retirement farm in Scott County, and now some generous people have stepped in to help.
The Old Friends Farm now has received a $50,000 donation. And as WKYT's Garrett Weimer tells us, farm leaders say the money will be put to good use.
On this quiet farm in the heart of horse country, ashes and scraps are all that remain of their hospital barn.
But it all went up in 15, 20 minutes. I mean, just went up and that was it.
Old Friends founder Michael Blowen says he hasn't looked at his main barn the same since, for fear of another fire, until now.
It changes our whole outlook on things.
Blowen says they've gotten help from nearby farms and other folks. Now, Fasig-Tipton's Blue Horse Charities is donating $50,000 to help them rebuild. Blowen says he plans to build 2 new barns and use what's now their main barn for social events.
We will never have to put horses in a barn that's flammable again. These 2 new barns will be completely fireproof. We're going to have the advice and consent of the local fire department and the fire chief. We're going to come out and advise us on everything. But these are going to be the most fireproof horse barns ever built, I promise you.
Knowing that's just over the horizon, Blowen says now he'll be able to sleep again.
Everybody that supports us and everybody that loves these horses can go to bed at night knowing that if there is a horse in a barn, there's not going to be a fire in there, no matter what. And that'll be a tremendous relief for everybody.
In Scott County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Thank you, Scott. And also the new, that was our report there from Garrett Weimer. The new hospital barn is going to be named after the late John Hedinger, a friend of Blowen's and a former owner out at Fasig-Tipton. Blowen says that Hedinger loved horses and worked tirelessly on their retirement.
Well, firefighters say a grease fire got out of control at a Lexington home. The fire started just after 7 last night on Redwood Drive near Georgetown Road. Firefighters say a man at the home was heating up some grease to fry chicken. They say he walked away briefly, and when he got back, the grease was on fire. No one was injured. Firefighters say they kept the damage to the kitchen and laundry room. The man was not actually able to stay at his home last night.
Lexington firefighters are still trying to figure out what caused a fire at the Old Continental Inn. That fire started just after 10 last night in the building on Eastland Parkway near New Circle. Firefighters say it started in the front of the building. We're told there was evidence of homeless people staying in the building. So far, no injuries have been reported in that. A Central Kentucky high school teacher is under investigation. Police say he may have had inappropriate communications with a student.
The teacher works at Mercer County High School. The Mercer County Sheriff's Office says the parents of a female student made a report to them. They seized electronics as part of the investigation. Deputies have not released the teacher's name, but so far he has not been charged. A grand jury will take a look at the case. Police say the teacher has been told to stay away from the school.
We have some new information about a murder investigation in Scott County. Last night, detectives were back out on the scene on Tips Lane. The Scott County Sheriff says they were using special equipment to get another look at the scene. Police still have not made any arrests in the case. Investigators say witnesses saw 2 men attack and then shoot 24-year-old Jeremiah Washington Saturday night. Washington was from Memphis, and police are not sure why he was in Scott County.
Winchester police say they want to talk to 2 people who may have been involved in a robbery. Police say they're looking for information about the 2 people seen in the surveillance picture. They say the robbery happened at the Winchester Walmart. So far, police have not released too many details about that robbery.
This morning, the Jessamine County Sheriff's Office is needing help in finding a couple of missing teenagers. Deputies say 14-year-old Taylor Garland of Nicholasville was reported missing Tuesday. They think she is with 16-year-old Alex Evans of Owensboro, who was reported missing on January 7th. Police consider both teenagers to be endangered due to medical issues.
A new high-speed internet network meant to help Eastern Kentucky's economy could be running into some trouble. Kentucky Wired is a joint project between the state and private companies to install thousands of miles of fiber optic cable throughout the state. But a key part of how the state was supposed to pay for the project has fallen apart. Kentucky's finance secretary says it could put taxpayers at risk of paying back a nearly $300 million loan for the project. The state doesn't have a timeline for a solution.
Well, that sounds like a problem. It needs to be figured out. 4:40 now, 20 before 5 on your Friday on WKYT this morning as we're just getting started.
Cage-free or farm fresh with no antibiotics. That's behind the latest egg label craze and why these things are so important when we come back.
And we're going to be talking about chilly temperatures today, but it's the last chilly day that you will feel until sometime next week. I'm going to break that down in your 7-day coming up.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
And hour by hour, I will show you that this morning is the only chance that we have at seeing some flurries this afternoon. It's more of your mixture of sun and clouds. Pretty decent looking day, but not a great feeling day. Let's get into it because we've had a weak system push through. Already seeing the effects of that down in southeastern Kentucky, especially Pike and Martin County, Floyd County. Those areas are right through there. So you're talking about Pikeville, Phelps, Jenkins. More than likely, you're staying out of the way of any accumulation, but there could be a coating on the ground. Remember, this isn't a lot. We're not expecting a lot. Haven't expected a lot the past few days, but it's enough to maybe cause a few issues there in the higher elevations. So just keep in mind, down in the southeastern zones, you still have maybe a coating on the ground for some of us. Look up north, here comes another band. It's going to be rolling on through Maysville, another 10 to 15 minutes. Flemingburg, if it sticks together, Flemingburg, you're going to be looking at another 30 minutes or so. Vanceburg, I would say 15 to 30. Mount Olivet, I think it squeezes by you and actually doesn't even give anything falling out of the sky in your region. So this isn't a lot, but it is something to be aware of as you go throughout your morning hours. 36 now, Mount Sterling, we're at 36. A pair of those down in Somerset, actually a trio, Somerset, London, and Monticello. Very popular number this morning. We get into the afternoon, and you know what? It's not going to change that much. Temperatures actually dive before 8 a.m. I would say right around freezing, give or take, and by the afternoon, we'll finish off right around 38 degrees. So it's going to be a chilly day in store. Going out to dinner later on this evening, we're at 35 and off into the night and into tomorrow morning, starting off in the 20s. So one more chilly day, and that is today. Then we look towards your weekend. Very mild, very dry. It's looking pretty good. Not all that bad. Warm and stormy, though, next week as we start to see big swing of temperatures. I mean, temperatures may be record-breaking. We'll see how it turns out. But here comes a big system heading our direction. So there is the look, and you can see on our 7-day forecast, it's 38 today, but after that, you're talking about 50s, 60s, and even a 70-degree reading there on Tuesday. We went ahead and put the red in there to let you know that we are expecting some strong storms. That could be a severe weather threat still 5 days out. So we'll see how that turns out. But it's a strong signal this far out. I mean, you typically don't see this strong of a signal this far out. So we'll have to watch that very closely. But that's after a beautiful weekend. This weekend looks phenomenal. Really good weather.
Well, you just don't typically hit 70 degrees in February.
No, absolutely not. It's amazing.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Something is amiss. It is 4:46 now, and from farm fresh to cage free to all natural eggs or eggs with no hormones or no antibiotics, you see a lot of labels, right?
Can make your head spin a little bit. Which carton of eggs is the best choice is what you want to know when you're in the shopping market. In today's Mom's Everyday Minute, we're explaining egg labels.
You probably know how you like your eggs. Scrambled, over easy, sunny side up. But are you familiar with egg labels? Eggs today are labeled cage-free, farm-fresh, hormone-free, and more. Best Food Facts is unscrambling the mystery behind egg labels. Cage-free eggs come from hens that are allowed to roam freely in a building, room, or enclosed area. Although these hens have more freedom to move, they tend to have more health problems and higher mortality rates than hens in conventional cages. The term antibiotic-free is used by producers who don't put any antibiotics in feed or water during the growth stage of young hens or when they're laying eggs. And that hormone-free label? It actually applies to all eggs because egg-laying hens are not given hormones. Hormones occur naturally by all living things. In fact, they couldn't produce eggs without them. For more information like this, visit momseveryday.com.
For these tips and more, go to WKYT.com, click on Moms Every Day.
And right there, you'll find that weekend weather forecast and all the latest news as well. Great to have you with us. It is Friday morning. It's the 29th of January on WKYT.
The last GOP presidential debate before the Iowa caucuses brought a little bit of surprise, including a Trump-less stage, which was a total surprise. We'll take a look at last night's debate when we return.
Good morning. Welcome back. 4:51 on WKYT. And, of course, it is your Friday morning.
It's great to have you here with us.
And 7 Republican presidential candidates met for their final debate before the Iowa caucus last night. But frontrunner Donald Trump refused to show up, hosting his own event instead. Our Washington Bureau correspondent Alex Miller is joining us now live. Alex, good morning. Was the Republican National Committee successful in continuing this debate without Donald Trump?
You know, it doesn't necessarily seem like it. Donald Trump was able to pull off this event in 24 hours after he decided not to compete in the debate because of moderator Megyn Kelly. Now, he says he raised $6 million, $1 million of his own for veterans. But what I thought was kind of the most interesting part of this whole debate was that he had 2 candidates with him on the stage. Rick Santorum and Mike Huckabee joined him after the undercard debate. Now, keep in mind, these are the last 2 people to have won the Iowa caucuses for the GOP, and he was able to get them up there with him. And technically, they are still rivals right now, so I found that really interesting. And they said that they were trying to just keep to the issues, but it's interesting just a couple days before the debate that he'd have them up there with him.
Right, and some lots of back and forth there. How did the 7 other candidates do at the Trump-less debate? Did it feel any different without the Donald on stage?
You know, I think it did because it was certainly quieter. They were able to stick to their message a little bit more. They didn't necessarily go after each other with low blows, as you may have expected with the Donald Trump debate. Now, without Trump front and center, the spotlight kind of fell on Senator Ted Cruz, though he did kind of complain a little bit after taking charge at the beginning of the debate. Listen to what he had to say.
If you guys ask one more mean question, I may have to leave the stage.
Now, Senator Marco Rubio, who is his rival both in the Senate and now in this campaign, took this as an opportunity to take a shot and told the moderators they could ask him whatever they wanted and he would answer without leaving the stage. This is a big time for the frontrunners who are looking to do well in Iowa, which not everyone is. Some of those 7 candidates are focused more on New Hampshire, like Chris Christie. But right now, with just about a weekend left before these Iowans go out to the polls, they really do need to hone and focus on these voters in Iowa.
Right, the big election is coming up, at least the caucus there in Iowa on Monday night. Alex, thank you so much. Reporting to us from Washington. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul did take part in this debate, and he was on the main stage. And according to NPR, Senator Paul had nearly 8 minutes of talking time during the debate. He touched on topics like technology and abortion. Time this morning is 4:54. Good to have you with us on your Friday on WKYT.
We've got another look at your morning forecast coming up.
Good morning, 4:57 now, hovering around the freezing mark this morning in most areas. Some areas might also wake up to a few flakes here and there.
Yeah, but the weekend's still looking real nice. Is that still the case, Micah?
Yes, it is. We're going to be waking up this morning, maybe a coating on the ground for some of us in southeastern Kentucky. Haven't heard from anybody out there, but just looking at the past 4 to 5 hours on radar, yeah, there's at least that opportunity maybe to have a nice little coating there on the road. Another weak little line of snow showers moving through the northern zones at this moment. Don't expect much out of that. Temperatures are there in the 30s. Will continue to drop as that front continues to push on through. So a few flurries this morning, right around freezing. Then we get into your afternoon at 35. Yeah, we're going to be discussing your last chilly day in the forecast until next week. Coming up with another 2 hours, WKYT News.